Hi guys, I'm Nu-Trix the Synth guy, and this is the last video of 2020. It was a hell of a year, and I will try to look back on the good things. Well, one good thing that happened this year is that all of us, we got to know how to use, video chat system and software like Zoom and Google Meet and all that stuff. It forced me to start my one-on-one consultation with people using videos. So if you need help, you can always reach out to me and we can do a one-on-one consultation, and it can help you make your software run the way you want or tweak your machine the way you want. But also, it gave me the opportunity this year to interview a lot of people online. I started with Alex Matthew from GlitchCore for iOS, and that was great.
My name's Alex, last name is Matthew. My first app, it was Glitch Breaks, and then second, another app called Sliver, and I'll explain a little bit more about them, but my newest app is called Glitch Core. It takes audio and rearranges the audio based on how you would like to, basically resequences that audio, and also does looping, and it does micro loops, which I call glitches, all while it's running. And at that point you can then change what's going on back here to and you'll hear it as the different notes are still changing as it's still driving it back to dry.
I then interviewed Matthew Fetcher for AudioKit Pro, and this is really an eye-opener. If you don't know what AudioKit is about, you have to watch that video. It's really a company or a group of people with a mission, sharing, having a low cost, creating code from the iPhone or the iPad, and sharing that code so that anybody can build their own software. Really cool stuff.
My name is Matthew Fetcher, and I am a featured Apple developer and one of the co-founders of AudioKit Pro. We create building blocks that help you make music apps, and it powers probably about 100 million downloads in the App Store, from music production apps to like apps by Disney and McDonald's to all kinds of apps. What we do is provide free building blocks like reverbs, filters, oscillators. We make it so you can actually easily make your own apps, and then you don't have to pay us anything. It's completely open source. You can think of it as remix culture for code, and you can make $1 million, sell your apps, and it's all yours.
Then I had the interview with Tom Longabaugh from Eventide, and we talked about how Eventide approaches the iOS plugin universe, and that's really cool also. And he demo most of what they had released at that time.
Well, I've been with Eventide for about 5 years now, I guess. Eventide's a small enough company that it's kind of a wear all the hats type of place where you're doing a lot of little different things. So I'd say my main official title is software developer, but at the end of the day, we're doing all kinds of different things. Obviously, on the iPad, we need to be able to, or the iPhone especially, you need to be able to adapt to all these different sizes. So really the biggest chunk of the development effort was just figuring out how to lay everything out in a way that makes sense on all these different iOS devices.
I had an interview with Dan from Screwed Circuit. I known Dan for a lot of years. He's the guy behind the company Screwed Circuit, and they're doing circuit bending, either custom they do less and less of that because now they have their own brand stuff, and they have the flip out fuzz, and they have this. It's a tone generator, basically. It's a tone generator. They call it a liquid drone, and then you can play with it. There's a video about that if you want to.
Screw Circuits, we make handmade synthesizers and stomp boxes and circuit bent instruments from toys that you would find in a Toys R Us or a child's toy. We turn it into lo-fi sounding, some would say, instruments, noise toys, glitch boxes, and yeah, that's my passion. That's my drive. That's my calling. Yeah.
I tested this week, and yeah, I can understand that you sometimes push it to the limit. I mean, these photosensitive, I don't know what they do, and I think nobody knows what they do. Maybe you don't even know what they do, but when you play with them, it's so hard to know what you. But at the same time, that's part of the fun part.
Yeah,
exploring
and making something different in a different way, in a different format. You know.
When I tested this thing, that's exactly what I remember. It was in my mind all the time. It's like, I don't know what these knobs are for. I don't know what these, sensitive sensor are for. I'm just gonna play with them, and it's part of the exploration fun. It's just like you're gonna discover. Again, I like to pick people's brain to understand how they got into making what they're doing and why they're building these tools that we then use to create stuff. I find that fascinating. We then had an interview with Dan from CodaLab. He used the codes from AudioKit and I think worked with Matthew on this, and he coded his own CodaLab audio tune. It's an auto tune alike on the iOS.
I started Coda Labs myself about 1.5 years ago. I think it was about 1 year ago. Matt Fetcher from AudioKit moved to Atlanta. After knowing each other for about 1 year, we decided to make an app in collaboration with each other to make a new looper app, and that was AudioKit L7. And the latest one, AudioTune, is our second collaboration together, and it's also part of the series of AudioKit limited edition app drops.
One thing cool about that, though, is when you click on scale, you can actually turn off the notes you don't want. So in my case, I selected G. It's going to be on G all the time.
If I say
I'm going to be on
D sharp, well, it's going to be D sharp.
Either it's going to
be an octave lower or an octave higher, depending on where I find.
But I find my note, my voice. So.
Pretty cool also. Then I was able to get two guys from Roland explaining what is the principle and the logic behind the Zencore technology, Zenology, the ABC, ACB, AD. There's all these words, what they mean, and it was a great eye-opener for me because then I understood a lot more how these devices integrate. Zenology that you came out not a long time ago, a couple of months ago if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
This ties up with the Roland Cloud. Then there's Zen Beats. Well, at least the beginning of the name is the same, Zen. So there's must be a link somewhere. I know there's Zen Core that we hear about, and that's kind of linked somewhere to plug out if I get it correctly.
ACB, which is analog circuit behavior, is a circuit-based model. So it's really starting at the circuit level and building the instrument up like you would in hardware. It's a super detailed model. So there are plugins, ACB plugins, where even moving a knob that's not part of the patch will actually affect the sound. It'll actually affect because it affects the circuitry in a real unit. The ABM, analog behavior modeling, is a subset of the Zencore engine. And what it does is it looks at the end result of the instrument. What is the behavior? If I play a note here, and then I play a note here, and then here, and then here, what happens to pitch on a particular instrument? And then it will it will determine those things and reproduce those aspects, but not from a circuit level, more from a behavior level.
For my 10,000 subscribers festivity, I decided to do a Zoom video with guests in them and have one of my subscribers come in and ask questions. So we had Mobile Music Pro, Vortex was there. We had Discord, so Tim was there. We had Hack Attack, so Jacobs was there. We had Davey Pooh, and we had Electronic Sound was there.
Now it's easier for anybody to just show up and start making music, but the guy with 10 years of experience is going to be making a lot better music.
Although we all kind of have a level playing field, I think, at this time, and everybody who walks in the door isn't going to necessarily be coming from that same place, even though the door is wide open now, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that anybody can make fantastic music. It just means that there's now just a huge more plethora of genres out there. So your taste of subjectiveness of good or bad, that's always been, been subjective. That's always been. So music has always been good and bad, but now there's just a whole lot more accessibility for people. I think that that's just like huge, and that's why I started the channel, is just to really just get the message out there that look, I think that the world would be a much better place if more people were making music, and I don't think people know that anybody can make music now, and we need to get the message out there, because this is like everybody just thinks that the iPad is for email.
There's a disconnect. They don't see all the years, all the days we've been sitting alone with our stuff and just tweaking, learning about this stuff. So we actually know what we're doing. And someone watching our videos can't really see all that. And you're going to have to be willing to sit down and really use the stuff.
Now we have this sense of availability that we didn't have ever before, right? I mean, I think the availability has widened, but that doesn't mean the quality has changed, right? I don't think it's good or bad or better or worse. I think it's probably still the same, but now there's no filter, right? Previously, we had the filter for better or for worse of those record companies, of those executives who were making the decisions about what we were able to hear, right? What we had access to, and then we had to choose from what they chose. Now those filters are gone.
There's a reason for that. It goes with what you said earlier. I mean, when somebody has a sync clavier, you needed to have a lot of money. So there was a record company saying, I'm going to pay for that. So then I'm going to choose the company, the band that will make me money, because I cannot afford. So the studio costs a lot of money in the time. The recording costs a lot of money. All the tools cost so much that the company needed to be sure, or at least kind of sure, that they would make money off of it. So it was, as you say, the filter. Now today there's no filter, because it's like anybody can write a book. Anybody can get a word processor and write a book.
Sure. And there are advantages and disadvantages to that, right? Like, I would never have heard your music or Dean's music or Jakob's music or Tim or any, if not for this wonderful internet that we have. However, that also means that we're subject to the thousands of hours that Tim has to put himself through horrible music every morning. So,
but also I think
after that, I was able to have Vianney from Bliss in an interview about Bliss software, where they are now, and also how they see the future of the Mac OS, iPad OS, iOS, where this is going, especially with the new thing of Apple running their own silicones on the new Mac and maybe merging the two OS one point.
We are a small company, and we've just started less than 2 years ago. We've started the company less than 2 years ago with the idea of the Bliss Groovebox, which was our very first project at that time. And now we've come a long way, and have released more than 8 apps for iOS since then. Yeah, we've also released Bliss Alpha Synthesizer, which is a polyphonic analog synthesizer. We really wanted to make an analog sounding synth, because that's something we really like here at Bliss, and we wanted to bring an interface that is truly easy to understand. And it's still a very complex app, but we wanted to make it look quite simple. Bliss has been working with Jean-Michel Jarre, who is a famous electronic musician, but who is also a visionary and a pioneer. We've been working together to release his latest, if I may say, infinite album, which is called Ion. This app is already based on a algorithmic approach.
I got, again, Dan from Screwed Circuit. We talked about the fuzz, flip out fuzz, which is really bizarre. So what do we have? It's a fuzz. Well, that's flip out fuzz.
Right. It's handmade, so it's real mahogany. The fuzz is dominant in the sound. We have a level to feed to the filter. There's a resonant filter followed by it's an overdriven sound, and then we have the option to turn on the flip out option, kind of a feel of a ring modulator, but it's not.
It's like amp modulation?
Amplitude, yeah.
And I finally finished this year interviews with Henny the Bizness, with Kennard Garrett, about the House Mark I, which is a Rode sampled piano software running, again, the audio kit frame for the developer part.
And lo and behold, I have a vintage electric piano in the Ray Charles Performing Arts Center that we were using quite a bit. And so we were teaching that semester. We told our students, like, hey, we got this incredible opportunity to sample this instrument, which, of course, none of them had never even played before. But we're like, how about if you could have this in your pocket? And that's kind of how it started.
From this standpoint, we wanted to not only bring this app to that community, but also, show a lot of people that there's a lot of potential in iOS platform music production. So it's one of their music production classes, and a girl asked us a question about starting her brand, and she was like, there's too much access out there. How do I condense it, and how do I really get the right tools, or get the right news and get the right facts? And I think that's what the type of life we're living in right now. There's just so much out there that it's hard to filter what's going to be right. And so when we did this app, we just wanted to make it simple and straightforward, and not a lot of hooplas, not a lot of presets. Just give you something that'll work.
It was a great year for the iOS. It was a great moment for everybody to start making music with their own stuff. 2021 is going to be still a rocky bump. It should be better. Stay safe, make more music, and have a great 2021 year. Bye.